thumbs up from Nick. We are live. So, thank y'all for those of you who are tuning in. I love doing these. These are so exciting for me now that I get to interact with everybody and talk about what's been going on lately and field some questions and hear from y'all. And this is something I look forward to doing. I'm trying to do these about once a month, touring schedule permitting. So I always love it when we can get in here and make this happen. So, all right, are we hearing me now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Okay, wonderful. So I'm so excited about several things, but one of the things I wanted to talk to y'all about before I play is that I've been working for months with my team. Shout out to Chloe Churko. Shout out to Alex Brawl. Shout out to Phil Einson for helping me get together. And shout out to New Orleans Record Press and Scott Bourne and Mike Quinlan and everybody over there at New Orleans Record Press. I have finally been able to release my 3 organ trio records that I made with Robert Walter and Will Bernard. I'm very proud of those 3 records, Stanton Moore 3, emphasis on parenthesis, and Groove Alchemy. And those records, a few years ago, I retained and gained ownership of all of the masters on those 3 records. So just this week, we are getting those out, and I'm making those available as a 3-record set in colored vinyl, and I've signed the OB strip that holds that set together, and we have a limited number of those, and then I'm also offering each of those records individually on black vinyl. So to celebrate that, I wanted to talk about that a little bit, and if you're interested in picking those up, you can get those at the link in the description. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and play one of the songs off of Groove Alchemy. So the Groove Alchemy record, I also did a whole book and DVD in conjunction with that, talking about how I came up with a lot of the grooves for that record, but a lot of the classic grooves that inspired me and informed my everything that I know about funk drumming. And it's all coming from Black American drummers, and I detail all of the lineage of that I've learned from, and all of the classic beats that I drew inspiration from, and that's all in the book and DVD of Groove Alchemy. But right now I'm going to play along to one of the tracks from Groove Alchemy that has the drums taken out. You can get that when you check out the book. But right now I want to play to a drumless track from Groove Alchemy to celebrate the release of these 3 records. And this is Pie-Eyed Mank, which I'm sure y'all have heard me play. I've played this a lot, but these records are out now. So to celebrate that, I'm going to play along to a tune from one of those records. So here we go. Nick's going to hit me with this. Thank you very much for tuning in. fun stuff. Man, when I play along to that play along, I have so many flashbacks of so many memories of so many drum clinics and so many drum festivals, and also had a great time playing that when I did my Drumeo appearance, which was a blast. And shout out to my guys over at Drumeo, and also just, all the times that I've played this and when I recorded this at Lee Von Helm's studio, which was wonderful. So just then I was having all these flashbacks of all the times I've played that tune. So it's super, super gratifying to now have that available for y'all on vinyl. So super excited about that. Look at that. And I didn't realize it at the time, but the record covers, I started thinking about it, like, what did I want to do for the colored vinyl? I was like, oh, they kind of all reference primary colors, like Stanton Moore 3, kind of a mustard yellow, emphasis on parenthesis, kind of a crimson red, and then there were hints of blue in Groove Alchemy, so I went with royal blue on that. So the vinyl turns out to be a primary color vinyl set. But yeah, fun stuff. I'm really proud of the way it came out. I'm really happy and grateful to my team for all the hard work we put into that. We've been putting months and months into that. And it's going to be available digitally in a few months, but I wanted to make it available on vinyl first. So very, very cool. I don't know, for kicks, should we play another tune, Nick? What do you think? So I do want to say this. I love answering your questions while we're here. So if y'all want to start posting your questions, throwing your questions out there in the comments, that would be great. Nick is going to field some of those comments, and we're going to get into answering those in just a minute. But maybe I'll play another tune off of Groove Alchemy. In the meantime, just to play more than I talk, because I do like to talk a lot, sometimes too much. So let's play a little bit while y'all get your questions together. I love shuffles. I've been talking a lot about shuffles lately. So let's get into playing a shuffle off of the Groove Alchemy record. And this was written by Robert Walter. And that last tune was predominantly written by Robert Walter. I think I might have contributed a little bit on the riff rock section. But I'm very proud of Robert. He's been touring the world with Roger Waters. So shout out to my main man, Robert Walter. We've played so many gigs together, and we've made so many records together, and had so many great experiences together. So I love Robert. I'm proud of what he's doing right now. And I'm going to play a shuffle tune written by him called Up to Here. Yes, indeed. I love a shuffle. How many of y'all been playing shuffles out there? Let me hear about it. What are your struggles with shuffles? Shuffle struggle?
What's your shuffle struggle?
What's your shuffle struggle?
It's certainly a struggle sometimes.
Sometimes. I mean, it took me a long time to get confident playing a shuffle. And now I love it. Absolutely love it. But it took some while to get comfortable with it and to develop a strong sense of confidence while playing a shuffle. You seeing some questions in there, Nick?
We have some shuffle specific questions.
I love it. I was hoping for that. Cool. Let it rip.
All right. So this guy says, David Dobbins, I've been working on my shuffle, in particular trying to get the double shuffle going on the snare, but it sounds like crap. Any tips on exercises I can do to get it better?
Yeah. So, believe it or not, playing double stops is hard. It's a lot harder than people think. So, give me a pad, Nick, if you wouldn't mind. And this is something you can work on a pad because, you know, when you play double stops on a snare drum, it sounds like flat flams and it sounds terrible. So you don't want that. But you can play double stops on a pad and practice this, and you can maybe do this, you know, you can even do it to a click while you're watching a movie or something. But, you know, make sure you don't do this with your significant other because that could drive your significant other crazy. But you know, sitting here doing double stops, give me the overhead cam there, Nick. So, and try not to get any flams, right? So just do it like that without accents first. Then, so this thing's bouncing off.
I'm trying to find you a better one.
Yeah, we have millions of pads somewhere.
Of course, I can't find one right now.
So they may be all downstairs from drum camps, Nick. So you want to be able to play the accent in the left hand without playing the accent in the right, right? So here, right? Or you want to be able to accent with the right and the left at the same time. And that's jumping off the pad when I do that. Now, by doing that, when you go to play between the ride and the snare, then you'll have it nice and, you know, nice and together. All right, we're giving up on pads. Can't find any pads. I have like literally 50 pads, but okay. So when you do it on the snare and the cymbal, you want to make sure you don't have any flams. Now, you also want to be able to do that with the bass drum, and that's really challenging, right? But you want to be able to do that, and you might do that at a slower tempo. Now, I talk about sometimes playing things like a dotted eighth and a 16th. I really like doing that. It gives things a little bit more of a drive, I think. But sometimes you're playing in a really blues situation where they don't want you to do that. So you need to be able to adjust. But what you want to make positive that does not happen is you don't want to have your hand playing more of a dotted 16th and a dotted eighth and a 16th and have your left hand playing a different thing. And you're getting like what sounds like to me like a lawnmower going over rocks. You don't want that. So whether you're playing true triplets or a dotted eighth and a 16th, You want to make sure that you're playing it all together, you're phrasing it all together, and you want to add it with your foot too. Don't be afraid to slow this down, right? Slow it down a lot. And to be able to do that without moving in a relaxed way is challenging. But I'm a firm believer, man, that if you get your shuffle together, it is going to greatly improve your groove across the board. And I'm not the only person who feels this way. Other guys like Steve Jordan really talks about the importance of you've got to learn how to shuffle if you're going to learn how to groove. Because when you're shuffling, you're basically very exposed. There's no hiding. You're not hiding behind any tricky ghost notes or any linear stuff. It's like, man, you really got to have your time together. You really got to have your feel together, your consistency. And, on paper, the shuffle can be, a pretty, if you don't play it right, if you play it just like it's written on a piece of paper, it could sound pretty stiff. Right? So you got to know what kind of nuances to put into that. So I've done a lot of talk about the shuffle, so I don't want to go into that now. You can check out the shuffle course if you want to go deeper. And since we're talking about that, you can check that out. But yeah, I love questions about the shuffle. Any more questions about the shuffle?
Well, yeah, and I mean it's kind of going into what you were just talking about. There's a couple questions about phrasing, playing them like tighter, like 16th, not like dotted 8/16 versus like super triplet-y and stuff like that. Maybe you want to talk just a little bit about that and how maybe playing with certain ensembles, certain bass players makes you have to kind of adjust your triplet.
So, you may want to be able to go back and forth. So right now I'm going to play triplet based. Then I'm going to morph it to where it's going to be dotted 8th note 16th, which I like more. So when I get to that, I'm going to nod my head. But you want to be able to adjust the difference, right? Check it out. Starting with triplets. Of course, you could get to where you're playing two swing, and I'll play it two swing right now. I'm intentionally trying to make that sound bad. But I do work on adjusting that. I shed that. I listen back to recordings. I listen and see if I'm phrasing it like that, if everybody else is phrasing it like that with me. And sometimes I have listened to recordings of gigs and be like, man, I was too much on the dotted 8th, 16th note trip. I could have split the difference a little bit. And a lot of the classic drummers, I'm sure Art Blakey wasn't thinking this way. I'm sure Herlin Riley doesn't think of his shuffle this way. But these guys have been playing shuffles, since they were kids, and we all listen to music that has been quantized and straightened out, and sometimes unquantized and twisted in a way that if you play that way on a blues gig, you might not get called back. So there's a lot in music that enters our ears, and if you want to, that doesn't necessarily contribute to the best shuffle. So we need to address this. And so have come up with ways to directly address that. Be able to morph your phrasing between triplets to dotted 8/16, and be able to split the difference, and be able to know when to use which one. And that takes some musical maturity and some development, but that's why we're here, right? Cool. All right. Any more questions, Nick? Shuffle or otherwise?
Hang on, I'm reading. All right. Here's one. On Groove Alchemy, you play a track called Knocker, and you have this left-hand triplet going on the snare, and it's unreal. Any chance of breaking that down or showing your approach to that groove?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I'm glad you asked about that. So I could spend a lot of time talking about this. So this is one of those things where that's something I never thought I'd be able to do, but I started practicing it in slow motion on a pad, watching a movie, and give me that overhead there, if you wouldn't mind, Nick. And I was, open, close, open, close, open, close. And I was like practicing this, watching the Jojo Mayer Secret Weapons for the Modern Drummer, which I suggest every drummer get and go through. It's incredible. And now give me that side cam. So you see how I'm opening and closing? So I was shedding this and I was like, man, I'll never get that, right? I was like, I'll never get that. But then I was shedding it traditional 2. And then I was playing, not thinking about it. I was shedding in 5, playing Magnolia Triangle. And then it just started to happen in traditional grip, right? So when it started to happen, I was like, whoa, this is like magic. I didn't know I could do it. But it's because I had shed it in slow motion. Then it started to happen naturally when I wasn't thinking about it. Then I said, well, shoot, how quick could I do it? Then I said, well, shoot, can I do it in 4/4? And I could. So then I said, well, shoot, can I do it in match grip? And then I realized I couldn't do it as fast in match grip, but I could do it in match grip. Now, right now, I'm intentionally doing it without a lot of finesse. I'm doing it just to show you the motion. Now, I love Bernard Purdie, so Bernard Purdie's hand system is pretty much this. Give me the overhead for me, Nick. So stay on this overhead. So check out Bernard Purdie's hand system, right? So then I started adding this push-pull to that to get what I started calling the Super Bernard Purdie hand system, which is where you're adding more ghost notes using that push-pull. So then I'm going to bring it up to tempo. And, that's one of the things that came from practicing it in slow motion. And I'll be honest, like that's one of the things that I usually don't start doing that too much until I'm pretty warmed up. And right now, I didn't really warm up today. So, but that's one of those things that really works better when everything's firing on all cylinders. So, and then, you know, I might have been hitting a backbeat on that, a rim shot. So Nick, this might get louder, so just be aware of that. But give me this side cam if you wouldn't mind while I do this. And you could hear the more I did it, the better it started sounding because I was starting to warm up a little bit. But that's what it is. And then I do that, you know, I do that a lot now. And then I'll also double it up with 16th notes in the right hand. So I do this thing now that's like this. So then notice that it's a staggered thing where it's like one, and so it's like one, 2, and ding gong, ging gong, and each hand's going da 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 da, and this one da 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 ding da 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 da. So they're staggered, and that's kind of hip, I think. That'll admittedly be too many notes for some things, but I'll usually wait until a solo to do that. And I'm trying to sound like a friend of mine, maybe Pedro Segundo or Taku Hirano, just showed up and picked up a shekere or a giant shaker or something and just joined me to add a texture, right? So. Cool. Hopefully that makes sense.
All right. So there are some more questions.
Nice.
Well, first it's just a compliment. People love your shoes. The clouds.
I get so many questions about the on, and look, I'll take them off. These are great because they're slip on.
You got a
slip
flip
off.
camera, bro.
I know, but look, I'm going for that. I'm going for that on brand deal.
Yeah, right. Trying to get your shoe endorsement.
But it's hilarious. They're so comfortable. But every time I wear them, somebody like at an airport or on an airplane or wherever I am, people are like, those are great, right? I got a pair. They're great, right? So, and whenever I wear them, when I do the live stream, people ask me about them. And Lauren, one time I didn't answer the question. The first time I got the question, Lauren was like, you're too long-winded on each question. You ran out of time. And all they wanted to know was what your shoes were. And so I'm trying to keep my questions shorter and try to address the pertinent questions. And one of them is always about the shoes, which is great. And I cannot recommend or endorse them more highly. And I don't even endorse them. Yet.
Yet. Some mysterious person named Chloe was asking if what kind of cowbell setup you have. What kind of cowbell mount do you use?
So I use a DW cowbell mount, which would you grab one, a brand new one off the wall there for me, Nick, so I can show people what it looks like. Because I don't want to have to take this one off, but it's the best cowbell mount I've ever used. Are we out of it?
No. Stuff over here. Give me a second.
But I can pull this one off if he doesn't find it.
No, there isn't one. Okay.
So it's it clamps to the hoop. Here, give me that overhead cam, buddy.
Oh wait.
Oh, you found one.
Nope.
Nope. All right. So give me the overhead cam.
Oh god.
So it just clips to the hoop of the bass drum. And I travel with this. This is part of what goes into my trap case. And yeah, so it's really streamlined and it's super sturdy. So it looks like a bass drum clamp, but it's got this attachment on top of it so that you can put a rod into there and then it'll clamp on any bass drum hoop. But if you don't have this, you know, a lot of the options are not as sturdy. So this is great. And it's great because you could attach it to a bass drum hoop and you could put spurs in there. You know, you don't have to just put a cowbell in there. You could get creative with it and use this clamp in creative ways. But it's
Like the wood blocks and the.
yeah, you could put wood blocks on it. You could put I've put little mini timbales on it. I've mounted for years. I put one of those on my 26 and then had a DW cymbal arm come out of there. So I was mounting a cymbal off my 26 with one of those clamps. So that's a great question because I've been through many clamps, but this one is killer.
Is that cowbell clamp linked in with your Sweetwater page?
I believe it is.
Oh, well, hey, I think there's a link in your comment and in the description.
Oh yeah, you can get
If you're
to
trying
it.
to find
There's a
it.
link in the description that talks about my gear, and you can get all that from there through that link.
Apparently, Chuck Harling has 3 of them.
What's up? Oh, he's got 3 of the clamps.
Yeah.
What's up, Chuck Harling? What's up to all my other SMDA folks who might be tuning in?
Oh.
Do I see something from Lauren?
Yeah. Something about your shoes.
What's she?
She's just laughing at you.
I listen to my wife. I'm trying to take advice and follow that advice.
That's a key to a good marriage right
Yes,
there.
it is.
Listen to your wife.
Yes, it is. It's a good key.
Give me 1 second. Let me peruse these questions. Someone's trying to get their let's see, DJ Long Pants. Names. Is trying to get his double bass pedal stuff. We're trying to get that up to snuff. He just got a double bass pedal and he's not used to playing with his left foot, and he was asking if you have any exercises that would help him develop his double bass.
Yeah, so one thing you can start doing is, for me, and for a lot of drummers who utilize the hi-hat a lot, playing on your 8th notes. So give me the foot cam. Playing 8th notes on the hi-hat, you can start to move that over to your double bass drum pedal, right? Okay, so if I'm playing, I do what we call the Bonham engine, which is E's and Ah's on the bass drum. And, you know, a lot of times guys play eighth notes on the hi-hat doing that, right? So. Now, if I like to straddle the hi-hat and the bass drum pedal and get both of them, and then get this. Right? Okay. So that's one way you could just start getting your foot into the mix. You could also just put it all the way onto the bass drum pedal and not straddle this at all. Right? So that's one way to start getting it involved. Right? All right. Now, another thing you can do is just start, you know, you can get like the Encyclopedia of Double Bass Drumming, which starts off real simple. But, you know, just one of the things I've been working on lately, because I admittedly am not the greatest double bass drum player, but I like to use it for texture. So like when I add in that Super Bernard Purdy system, I'll throw this in there. So check this out. Keep the cameras like you got them, Nick. So if I'm like into somebody's solo and I want things to get really powerful, I might start doing stuff like that. So. Also, I might add it, you know, I do this thing, give me that overhead cam keep the feet, but yeah, there you go. So I like doing this thing, which is like, I call it a Stanton diddle diddle. I don't know if that's the right thing to call it, but take a paradiddle diddle. But then you add a flam on the last left diddles. So here's a paradiddle diddle. And then I add a flam on the left diddles. Then I split it around the drums. So I like to do that bottom engine with my left foot, straddling the hi-hat and the bass drum pedal with that, right? I'll do that sometimes. And then sometimes I'll do this fill, and then but then I'll put that super bottom engine under it. that powerful bass drum stuff knocked the filter off of our light. Okay, cool. So that's some of the ways that I use the double pedal, right? And then also I'll use it if I want really powerful doubles in a fill. I'll use it like that too. And then, so let's see. Give me that foot cam again, buddy. But that's some super basic stuff, and I use it kind of sparingly, and that's the way that I'm using things. But of course, there are double bass drum masters out there, like my buddy Thomas Lang. I mean, what he does with the double bass drum situation is just masterful, But I use it to like fill out things, make things bigger underneath what I'm doing, and so I'm using it to create sonic density as opposed to trying to add speed or anything to what I'm doing. And then you can shed all kinds of other things with the. I recommend getting that encyclopedia of double bass drumming as well. So hopefully that helps. It's like a $20-$25 book maybe, but that'll definitely get you started.
Or just start transcribing Meshuggah,
Cool.
I got some more questions. Lightning round.
Lightning round.
All right. People love the bottom engine.
Love it.
That's a thing.
Love it.
Love that too. Oh wait, that's not the Nick Cam anymore. Sorry. People have been got a couple questions about that the guy that's over the snare drum mic. It's literally just it's just a shield to help tame the mic bleed from the hi-hat and the other cymbals.
Give the overhead.
Let's see if it shows up in the yeah.
So it's a screen, and it's called Sterling is the brand, and I believe you can get it on Sweetwater.
Yeah, it's just Google it. Sterling mic, MIC shield, or microphone shield, or guard, but it is very helpful. And shout out to my man AJ Hall. I noticed he was using one. So yeah, there's a lot. I've been noticing a lot more cats are using them. I know some dudes have been using them like on other microphones around their drum sets too.
But we did notice a difference, a good difference.
Like it's not going to cut out all the bleed.
No,
it's just not going to cut out all the bleed,
but
but
it does help.
Definitely helps.
And it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
And it does help. And as you learn, as you start recording, it's all about details. It's all about nuances, small things. Ton of small things start to add up. Cool.
Thanks, Chuck. So maybe if you could quickly give a couple quick tips for memorizing songs quickly.
Well,
do you start with sheet music first? Is the follow-up question to that?
So to be honest, what I like to do, and this is a system that works pretty well for me, is I get a piece of paper, one sheet of paper, and a pen, and I have tons of the little white-out tape rolls. If I knew where one was in here, I'd grab it. But it looks like a little, looks like a little snail, and it's white out, and it's like a little white out tape roll. So I carry that stuff with me wherever I go. So if I've got to learn a tune, it takes me about the length of listening to the tune once. Because what I do is I write out how many bars are in the intro, how many bars are in the first verse, how many bars are in the first chorus, is there a pre-chorus? But you write that out, and then going through that process, whether or not you ever look at that again, you're going to know that, oh, intro's 8 bars, first verse is 8 bars, and then it goes into a 4-bar pre-chorus and then an 8-bar chorus. And then there's a 4-bar vamp, and then the next verse is 8 bars. Oh, wait, no. The next verse is 12 bars. Oh, interesting. Okay. You're going to remember that. And then the next pre-chorus is 4 bars. Okay. And then the next chorus will be either 8 or 16. Oh, no, that chorus is 12. That's interesting, too. So I remember second verse is 12, second chorus is 12. Okay, great. If you go to play a fill after 8 bars of that second verse, you're going to sound like you don't know the song. So I spend the time to chart it, and literally it takes maybe 2 listens to chart the tune out. And then I also write out the main beat verbatim. And then I might vary it a little bit, but at least I know. And I write out the tempo. So I use either Frozen Ape or Benny Greb's Gap Click, and I map out what's the tempo of the tune. I do that while it's playing in my ears. What's the tempo? I map that out, and I put that on there. So then, and I also travel with a Dr. Beat DB90, and I have that on my left. And so
Can we still make those?
I know, but it's super simple. It's super simple, and it works every time.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
But I don't turn the sound on it. I just look at the light, and I sing a part of the tune, and I use that light to help me, and I look at that, and I sing a part of the tune, and I usually count 4 beats to myself, and then I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, smack, boom. And I've got my sheet here if I need it, but a lot of times I don't even need it. But that helps me learn tunes really quick. And then I have tons of black binders with clear plastic sleeves in them that have sheets of paper in them. So I made a whole binder for the Kraz No More tour, and I showed up super prepared and knew all of my tunes, and that was super helpful. And then we knew the tunes right off the bat, and then we could start focusing on dynamics and becoming a band and playing really well together. And since we're in the lightning round, I love to talk about things that are happening now. Nick just threw up new vinyl available. That is true. All of the Organ Trio trilogy with Robert Walter and Will Bernard, I'm super proud of those 3 records. And those are all available now. And I'm psyched on that. I'm also psyched on my new organ trio with Eric Krasno More Project. And that new record is out, Book of Queens. We just finished 4 weeks of touring. And that was just so much fun. The music is so great. I love the hang with those guys, with Kraz and Finland. And that record I'm super proud of. And that's what I've been up to lately, is touring with those guys. Of course, touring with Galactic still as well. We have a new EP out called Chompatulis, and I'm proud of all that as well. New single with Sema Funk. And then also my ebook. I'm offering a special rate on the ebook if you're interested in that. That's in the description as well. And also, I might as well mention, I'm doing a giveaway on one of my Zildjian Lunar Crashes from my private collection. And this is, right now, it went through the concept shop process. It did well enough in the concept shop. It's going to be coming out soon, but right now it's not available. But you can enter to win. That link is in the description as well. And if you're new to the YouTube channel, please like this video and subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when I'm coming out with new stuff. In case you can't tell, I am cranking out content and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Loving touring and loving sharing information with all of y'all. If you're not following me yet on Instagram and Facebook, please do that as well. I'm always putting out stuff on there too. So thank y'all for tuning in. Do we have any more questions for the lightning round?
No, it looks like everybody's. Oh, well, I mean, there's one question, but it's a deep question.
Well, ask it and I'll see if I can touch on it.
How do I teach myself how to read music?
Okay, that is a great question.
It's a great question. Great question.
That is a great question, and I have an answer for you. Fresh Approach to Drum Set, which is a fantastic book written by my friend Mark Wessels. And then I did all of the videos, and all those videos are available inside Stanton Moore Drum Academy. But the book is super reasonable. I think it's around $25.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. And it takes you from 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a quarter note. 2, 3, 4. These are eighth notes. 2 and 3 and 4. And then it takes you all the way through it. And it's really, really well done. I highly recommend it. Fresh Approach to Drum Set. So thank y'all for tuning in. I really appreciate everyone who's here. I'm going to get into the video later tonight and tomorrow, and I will answer some of your questions. And if I didn't get to your question this time, please come back. We'll be back in about a month. I'll announce soon when I'll be back, but know that I'll be coming back and doing these once every month or so. If you're not subscribed to Stanton Moore Drum Academy yet, I'm really proud of the work that we're doing there. We're all learning from each other together. And what happened, Nick? Something funny came in?
Pedro Segundo asks, what's your favorite Portuguese rhythm?
Well, I can tell you,
spot, bro.
I can tell you who my favorite Portuguese person is, and that's Pedro Segundo. And I'm going to ask Pedro Segundo to teach me more about Portuguese rhythms, because I need to learn more about that. But I've learned a lot about Brazilian rhythms, not the same, but I have learned a lot about Brazilian rhythms from Pedro Segundo. So Pedro, let's get together and let's hang and teach me about Portuguese rhythms. Thanks for putting me on the spot. I love my buddy Pedro. I hope you got that shout out earlier. I was talking good stuff about you. So beautiful. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And yeah, I love doing these. I'm gonna keep doing them about once a month. So I'll see y'all down the line, and I really appreciate it. Thank y'all. Good night.